There we go. All right. So normally when I teach roses, and we always do a little bit of that in the in-person workshops that I teach, um, I go into roses because it's just an extension of a brush mark. This is what we actually paint. Oh, can I see that? In the in-person workshop. So we do, this is just about learning your brush and using one brush to make different marks. And we paint some leaves and we paint some different leaves. And then from that, it's just a letter C, and then we build up into a rose. And they're really not that hard.
Yeah.
So we'll have a little play with that first, just on some scrap paper. But I also have seen something online where somebody used made roses. It's not very blowing out. There we go. Out of dabbing a piece of paper into some watery paint on a palette, and then making the C's out of that with just clean water, pulling it out. So that's what I wanted to have a play with, is just to see. I've got some different paper. So um, this is greaseproof paper, which is a bit softer. And this is baking paper, our baking paper. So it's a bit crisper, harder. I brought two. I thought I'd have a play with those. That was what I wanted to have a play with this morning anyway. And I just thought we'd all have a little bit of a chat about that. Firstly, I apologise. I have had a skin cancer cut out of my hand. So lesson there, get your skin checked. The stitches were meant to come out Friday and it was not ready. So I've covered it back up. Oh, I got into trouble for not keeping the compression bandage on too. It was too swollen, not ready. Anyway, yeah, nasty. Grew really quickly. So there you go. The joys. All right, I'm going to turn my camera around. I'll show you what's on my desk and let's get painting. There we are. Okay. Oh, look, it's back the front. To figure that one out. So on my palette, this is my palette that I paint with regularly. It's a beautiful Meaden palette. These are all my favourite colours that I've filled it up with. They're all different brands, and I filled them out of the tubes, and that's my corresponding palette. And this is fairly new. I had a smaller one. I've just gone big enough to fit on the screen bigger. So this is my corresponding palette of what's in it. And I've got the brand as well as the name written there. So keep that close by at the moment until I know exactly what's what in my palette. But the colours that I thought I'd play with today are these in here, and they're quinacridone rose, which is this one, I think, and madder rose, rose madder, which is this one. This one's probably more my favourite colour, but we might play with both of them. Anyway, so that's my palette. And I did bring the tubes over in case I needed, I've got a plate and I'll put the paint onto here to have a play with that paper and just see how that works. I've got 2 jars of water. One I like to try and keep clean for pulling out the water, which is exactly what I like to do with the roses. So clean water. So we make the marks, clean water just to pull it out and make the rose petals. My palette, so I'm just going to wake up some of the colours. I don't need everything woken up this morning. A little bit of water on each of those colours and some greens. And I do like to add Payne's Grey into my greens just to get some really nice darks. These are my brushes that are still on my desk from our painting on Thursday night. But this is probably my favourite brush. These are just round brushes. These are all Princeton brand from a 4 up to a 12, they're just probably my handy brushes that I keep with me. This is a mop brush, no brand whatsoever, and I got this on Amazon, and I wish I could get more because it's lasted. And I don't know, it's just my favourite. I always do like a mop brush because it holds a lot of water and it comes back to a really nice fine point. So I can use it loosely by holding it really far back on my brush and have not a lot of control, or I can come all the way down and use that very nice tip with just a little bit of paint and have a lot of control. There. There we go. Someone else has joined. Welcome. Thank you for coming. There we go. So that's what we're going to do. So that's my brush, and I'll probably use this brush. It's my go-to. It does everything. If you ever come to an in-person workshop with me, we have mop brushes just like this so that you only really need one brush. It does everything and holds a really nice amount of water. I have, I keep a little sponge on my desk for dabbing off the water as well. So you can do it with a tissue, you can do it with paper towel. Sponge just suits me as well. So that just sits there. Speaking of dabbing off, so I have a piece of paper towel, which I don't use a lot of, but that works just as well for dabbing off. But I also always have a tissue in my hand, and that is for picking up puddles or pulling back if I've put too much down. I'll use a tissue or toilet paper, something without any texture on it so that it doesn't make any marks in the paint on the paper, because you don't want a rippled paper towel would leave ripple marks where I've dabbed it up. That's why I use a tissue. So that's why a tissue always for puddles, anything if it's just a little bit too much. I think I've gone through everything that's on my desk. There we go. When we're painting, we always start with a lot of water and very little paint. So I call the consistency tea. So it's just like coloured tea. So let me mix up some. We'll go this one. So that's my rose madder. I'm just going to pick up a lot more water. That's the consistency of tea, what I'm looking for in that. And then to do the roses, I'm just going to dab it off so I don't have as much. Just got a scrap piece of paper here. They are just letter C's. So a cabbage rose, little C's in the middle, going out to smooshier C's all the way around, like that. Bigger, smooshier marks. And then we come back with my clean water and just soften off some of those edges with clean water. Blend it in and just by adding just a bit of clean water, softens it off. I'm holding my brush really loosely all the way out. And then we come back with a little bit more concentrated paint and drop it into the areas where it's going to be darker. So the inside of the petals, I'm going to drop it in. Just dropping it and then we let it dry. There. Anything that looks a bit much, come back with just clean water and soften it off. There we go. There we are. Let it dry. You can put another layer on it. And then even if you want to pick up really quite concentrated paint and drop it right in the center where the darkest darks are going to be. There we go. I don't mind that one. They're always all going to be different, softer. Yeah. I'd let that dry and then pick up the details just a little bit more after that. Time for coffee. All right. Rose leaves. When we're holding our brush to do a leaf, I like it's from the tip, use the body, and then use the tip. And then rose leaves have kind of got a zigzag ruffled kind of edge. So that's why we use this technique. Body, fan that brush out and wriggle it, and then pull it up. Let me grab some here. Rose leaves are kind of a blue-green colour, but that's a little too blue for me. Just going to grab a little bit of yellow. pretty much you will never see me use a straight colour. Dab it off on the edge. I'm going to use all that. So holding my brush loosely, tip, give it a wriggle, and pull it back up to the tip. Rose leaves usually come in threes, so from there, little line, a wriggle, and come up. Another one out this way, tip, wriggle, and come out. Is it perfect? No, but we're looking for loose. So that's my interpretation or impression of a rose leaf. Tip, a wriggle, and be really quite harsh. You can be quite harsh with your brushes and to get them, then they'll come back to shape once you wet them again. Give it a good wriggle, make that a bit greener. Tip, give it a good wriggle and bring it back up to the tip. We are. You can then come back and add some different colours in. Add some yellow, make them interesting. And you've got rose leaves. There we are. And I like them to bleed together. Then I would come back and dry it and build up back. If I wanted to see the way this has come together, I would come back with a little bit more pink and perhaps bring it over the top of the leaf once it's dry. I'm going to have a play. I might just use that there. Let me see if this other technique works. So this is the baking paper, so it's kind of hard. Just going to dab it in here. I don't need another piece of paper. Go that way. All right. Well, I haven't picked up much. Then come back with some clean water. Let's see what I can do with that. Make a rose, but it's going to make something pretty. Still, I think, let's try it with some softer paper. I'm just going to scrunch up the baking paper and just see if that worked better. I think it'd be one of those things, experiment with different papers, see what works. Got some blue. That might work better. Softer paper, dab that on. It's all right. Clean water, dab that off a little bit. No. No. I think it's much better. I don't mind it. It probably looks more like a peony rather than a rose with all those little bits inside. What else have I got? Another piece of paper. Another piece of scrap. You have another go. There we go. I don't mind it. I think it would make pretty flowers. Whether it's rose is you're still going to come back with letter C's, I think, to blend it in. I wonder if it would work with more concentrated paint. Mix up a bit of concentrated paint. Let's see if that works any better. I don't mind it. Let me see. Always good to experiment, see if something works. And what works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. I don't mind it. I like that. I think it would make pretty flowers. Maybe just not roses. Just dabbed off some of the water. softening them off in sort of a C shape. It's pretty, but I don't know. There we go. Always worth trying something. Looks pretty. But I think it makes maybe a good base bit. It's getting better. It's all right for the very beginning, perhaps. Soften that off. There we go. Getting better. Practice. There we are. Always practice. All right. All right. Well, I'm thinking I might just fill a page with roses and have a bit of a play. So letter C's. Let's go back to the original. That was an interesting exercise, but I like it. It's pretty, and I think it really does look a bit more like a peony rather than a rose. Anyway, there we are. Learning, always learning. Grab my piece of paper. Yeah, get that out of. Oh, I may as well use that while it's there. All right. Very loosely. What are we going to do? I might just do 3 roses across on the diagonal just by building them up. Keeping the brush really loose in my hand, letter C's all around in circles. And I'm using this so because I may as well. Let's start. I start a little closer in the middle, just to start on the smaller letter C's in the center. And then I'll smoosh more letter C's all the way out. There's one. I'm just going to come back with a little bit of water and soften off some of those edges. And then I'm going to let that one dry and do another one. And that's the joy of watercolour. Painting something with our first layer, our T layer, and then we come back with another layer once it's dry and start building up. There you go. That just softened it off. Simplify it. Simplify it as much as you possibly can. No, another one. Another one. Small letter C's in the middle. Smooth, swoopier marks around. Okay, that one's facing up a little bit more than straight on. I'm going to dab a little bit of darker in here. Let it dry. And there. And quite often I'll say it's a bit like a dance of the brush across the page. Keeping it loose, letting the water just flow. I'm going to pick up a bit of yellow, just a little bit on my brush, and dab it in some places just to make that colour just a little bit more interesting in places. Not every rose is going to be the same. Okay. Let it dry. Next one. Some colour. Let's grab a bit of something different. That one. There we go. It's a bit pinker, this one. Let's just turn it around a little bit and have my centre down here. So it's smaller in the centre. Bring it out to smooshier around the edges. My centre is off centre, just so that it looks like it's got a bit of direction of where it's shaped towards. Back with my clean water, just clean water on my brush, not a lot, and soften off those edges. Once the white is gone, it's hard to get it back. So we just want to soften off, but keeping some of those white edges. There we go. That's better. I like the yellow. Add a bit of yellow again in this one. Just in places, just make it a little interesting. All right, I'm going to fill the page. So I am just going to make some rose shapes that will be in the background, and I probably won't make any more definition to them, but they're just going to fill in my background. So I'm going very light, and watercolor always dries lighter, really loose on my brush, really loose. I can't hold it tight anyway because my hand hurts. So smooshy shapes and they will be in the background. Add a little water, a bit more. Another one up here, it could be a bud. Another one down here, something in the distance, still in that letter C, but very, very light, very much faded in the background. It could be a bud. This one could be a bud as well out here. All right. Now I've got 6, so really I want an odd number. I'll just add one more down here. It might be a bud as well. There we are. Leaves, just to fill it in. Mix up a pretty green. Oh, that's better. I like that colour. That one is Green Appetite Genuine by Daniel Smith. Yes, I think that's a beautiful colour. Dab it off. I don't want too much on my brush. I'd like to add a little bit of yellow, I think, to that. Let's grab a bit of yellow. Mix it off just that little bit. There we are. Leaves. So from here, I'm going to very loosely tip, body, coming back up to the tip. A few of those around. And the quicker you go, the less attached to the shape you might be. I paint very quickly. I'm not overly attached to the shape. It's going to turn that round. I'm going to come out of here, out of this area with some more leaves. Tip, body, tip, tip, body, tip. It's not wide enough, do 2. Another one, tip, body, tip. Turn it up. There we are. Okay, this needs a bit out here. Still holding it very loose, just dabbing a bit of colour here and there. There again, these will be loose and in the background. A little bit of colour. This probably needs a bit up here. There we are. While they're still wet, I'm going to add a bit darker. I've just added a bit of Payne's Grey into my green, just dabbing it around in some of the places where it might be a little darker. The underside of leaves in here would be quite a bit dark. Just dabbing that, just holding it loose. I think the key to staying loose is holding your brush loose. Dabbing the colour. There we are. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to some of those leaves as well. Yellow is Hansa Yellow Medium for that one. A little bit of yellow just for a bit of lightness, and that will also tie it in with the yellow that we put in the roses as well. There we are. Okay. All right. If you've got some, I'm going to dab that up. If you've got some leaves that you want to give veins to, let me just show you. We've got all the tricks coming out. This is how I make my veins with a little kebab stick, toothpick, kebab stick, whatever you like. And just while it's still wet, just by doing the veins in, and then just loosely. I'm holding this loosely as well, not too particular. Just giving them some veins. And you can also do that with the back of your paintbrush as well. And that's dried a little bit too much, so you're not going to get much there. Another one. There we go. And that, by just doing that with the back of your brush, causes a little divot in the watercolor paper and gives the paint something to settle into as well. All right, my first rose is dry. So is my second. So it's ready for my next coat. And what I'm looking for now is building up the darkness and the shadows. So when you've got a rose, inside the petals is going to be the darkest part. So that's where I want to lay my colour and then pull it out with a little bit of clean water. I'm impressed I haven't washed my brush in my coffee yet. There we go. All right. So this is dry. Coming back to this colour, which was here, mix it up just a bit more thicker consistency. So this is the consistency of milk. Dab it off. I don't want too much on the tip of my brush. And I'm coming down on my brush, and certainly in the center, I'm just going to be very careful where I add it, but coming back out as in here, just adding it where? Inside. And then before it dries, dab it off. So that's my, oh, you can't quite see that. Let me show you. There's my sponge that I'm dabbing it off on. So it's my sponge. A little bit of water, clean water, dab it off. And I'm just going to soften it on the high side, so into the petal. There. Soften it out, just that little bit. Holding it loose. There we are. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow like I did with the other one. Just the tiniest little bit on this one. There we are. Don't mind that. There we are. That one's probably pretty much close to done. Kind of dry. There's my colour. I might add a little bit of yellow to my colour here and use that just to make it a little different. Oh, that's better. Dab it off. I'm down for the centre. It's not really quite thick enough. A bit of that. Of yellow. Oh, that went very orange. A bit more red. Yeah. Okay. Dab it off. I can dab it off on my paper towel, on my tissue if I need. A little bit of this on the inside where the darker parts of the petal's going to be. Yeah. I'm back with my clean water, dab it off, and just soften off some of those edges. There we are. Just get rid of, just take away some of that white. Just felt like it had a little bit too much. Probably be darker around the bottom as well. That's better. Dab it off, soften it off. There we are. Okay, last one. This one, it's pretty much dry. That was a bit pinker. Use a bit of that. That's better. There we are. A little bit in the centre, tight in the centre. Smooshy around the edges. Around. Just laying it where the shadow or the darker part would be, and then softening off the edges. There we go. Now these, I quite like what's happening over here with this bud. I'm just going to pick up just a bit more interest as well. Just a little bit. It would be darker in the bottom. Once things dry, you can decide if you like them. If you want to pick it up just that little bit. Oh, I like that. Let's do the same with this one. Bit of colour. So a bit of colour in the bottom, the underside of the bud, because that's where the darkest darks would be, or the shadow, and then just soften it off. See what happens. It needs a bit of green around it as well. Good. I'm going to do the same with these. Just a bit of colour. Oh, there we go. I had a bit of green on my brush where I mixed it in my palette here, and I actually like what's happened. Red and green, complementary colours. So we're just going to give it a bit, not much. Still be in the background, just a bit more colour, a bit more light. Dab it off, soften off those. That's better. What have I got? Just going to pick up just a little bit of concentrated paint and drop it in. Just a little bit. So I don't want it, these are my focus. I don't want them to be, I don't want this to be my focus, but it needed just a little bit more. Same with this one. I'm going to turn it around. This one I'm going to make more like a cabbagey kind of look as well. Probably about all it needs. A little bit. That's it. A little bit of green around the bottom, I think would look better. There we go. Just ties it in that little bit. There we go. A little bit of love on the leaves. Some of them I'm just going to pick up a little bit darker by mixing, what did I say that one was? Green Appetite Genuine and some Payne's Grey, which makes it a really nice dark, dark green. So I think it just needs a little bit more darkness in places. Just dabbing it. And then all the way around while I've got it on my brush. But before it dries, I'm sort of soften off those edges. They could be shadows. There we are. Just soften them off, keeping things just a little bit loose. Now I'm going to give that one a little bit of love as well. I really like what's happened here. I hope I can get something similar up here with that rosebud as well. There we are. Still quite loose. There's still quite a lot of water in that paint. So I'm not going for anything too much, holding it loosely. Just going to lay it around the bottom and not do too much at all. I think that's probably all it needs. I'm painting on 300 GSM watercolor paper and it's cold pressed as well. So it has a bit of texture, and that's where I'm getting some really nice, interesting marks here where it's skipped across the texture of the paper as well. There we go. I think it's pretty close. I'm going to give it some splatters, and then that's about it. Little splatters, just as a little bit of atmosphere in the background. There, a bit more. There we are. All the way, a bit in there. All right, I'm happy with that. Let me give it a bit of a dry. All right. It's not quite dry, but while I've dried, I don't like what's happening here. So I'm going to quickly Oh, what's happened here as well? There we are. I don't like what's happened here, so I'm just going to fix that up. I'm just going to a little bit more colour on it. A bit of dark. There we are. That's better. Hopefully it dries nicer. And this has dried a little bit light as well. I could add a little bit more on here. It's always, you know, it's your choice how much you want to let go into the background and how much you want to save it and build it up, build up the layers. That's a little better. A bit more. So I'm picking it up straight out of the palette with just a little bit of water on there, and that. Yeah. Okay. I should stop. I think I've gone too hard on here, so I'm going to pull it right back. See, I should have stopped. And then I can rebuild that. Back. Went too dark. Let me just build that back up. And there. And let that fade into the background. See what that's done. Ah, that's better. That's better as well. There we go. Stop. All right, there you go. A quick little rose painting. Doesn't take long. Letter C. And it's good practice for using your brush as a mark making tool. Keep seeing things. Pull that back. That probably needs a bit of work, that bottom rose. I'm not sure. I should have, no, let me dry it. Let me see what I can do with that. Okay. I don't want to do too much to it. It might be where I need to stop a little bit and just let it soften. That's what I'll do. There we go. All right. There we go. Finished. Haven't even finished my cup of coffee. Let me have a... There we are. All right, I'm going to turn the camera back. We'll have a bit of a chat about that. All right, there we go. How did you go, Mary? Did you have fun with that one?
I did. Yeah, I haven't done
Lovely.
this in so long.
There you go. Keep it loose, holding the brush really loosely out on the back. And it is just a letter C. So if you just keep practicing letter C's, making that movement around in all different directions, that's how you build up a rose. And you saw I had trouble with that one on the bottom, but I think
Yeah.
drying it off and leaving it is probably the best thing I could have done. Always walk away. I shouldn't have kept playing. So there you
Well,
go.
I enjoyed your going too far and then backing off, then going too far again. I enjoyed that so much because it's so familiar.
That's good. Look, there's my tissue. Some might say that's a waste of paint, but um, I use it a lot. It's a really good technique that if you put too much down, quickly pull it back up. It's not a drama. Um, if you think if it's not working for you, quickly pull it back up. This rose up here I could, if I wanted to keep going, um, define the petals a little bit more, but I think I like the softness of it. I think I'm happy to leave it there. What I do like the most are the buds that ended up. They're very random. Um, they're not buds, but they are buds kind of thing as well. So there we go.
Very
Happy with that.
nice.
I'm happy with the light I've left on the tips of the petals. Yeah, there we go. And the leaves are just leaves. They're nothing, nothing. They're the impression of leaves. And that's how I like to paint a lot of the time is the impression of. People know they're leaves. They're green. It's okay. We go. All right. There you go. Roses. That was my experiment. That was my warm up. Grab that. That was also my experiment of doing it like I had seen somebody do it online using a piece of paper. Oh, it's blowing out. Ah, there you go. Look, I, it was an interesting technique. It's something, I'm all for using lots of different things to paint with. I love painting with a palette knife. I love, using a little kebab stick as well. But did it work? No, but it might work for something else. I think it made a nice. This pale one is quite pretty. It's interesting. The top's interesting, but I don't think it's something I'll probably do again. But I tried, and there you go. You learn. You're always learning.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for painting with me. Here you go. That's my roses. Loose, cabbagey, letter C's is my big thing for that one. Just a letter C. There you go. All right.
Beautiful.
So we do paint together in the online painting classes, second and fourth Thursday night. You can join casually or you can join the membership. And inside the membership, you get the library of all the past workshops as well. So that's $20 a month to join, or you can join for 12 months and get 1 month for free. So that's there if you're interested. But thank you for painting. That was lovely. Nice way to
Yeah.
spend my Sunday morning. Mary, what is it for you? Saturday afternoon.
No, actually, it's 8 o'clock at night.
Ah, there you go. Here you
Yeah.
go.
It
Beautiful.
was very fun. Thank you so much.
Hang on, I just see Janelle's chatting to me. That's all right, Janelle. I will make a recording of it. Send it out. That's all right. Um, we might do that. We might make a recording of it. Mary, you must be on my mailing list, or did you see it on Facebook to join?
Well, I received an email.
Oh, good. You're on the mailing
Yeah.
list. Good. Lovely.
Yeah.
I might send out the recording for those that didn't join. We'll see. All right. Entertained me a little. It's a bit gloomy here on Sunday morning and a little cold for us. So warm for you, Mary. You're
Yes,
in
very hot.
very hot. There you go. Lovely. Thank you for painting with me. I enjoyed that. All right.
Yes,
I'm going to
thank you.
go. Enjoy the rest of your evening or afternoon or whenever you are. And I hope we can paint together again soon.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.